At some point, every yard goes silent. One moment, birds are moving through the trees. A squirrel is crossing the fence. A rabbit is feeding near the grass. And then, almost suddenly, everything stops. The birds stop calling. The squirrel freezes. The deer lifts its head. Most people look outside and think nothing is happening. But that silence is not empty. It may be a warning. Because long before you hear the sound, see the shadow, or notice the movement, the animals around you may already know something has changed. Have you ever noticed it? That moment when your backyard goes from alive to frozen, when every creature seems to be holding its breath at the exact same time? What you are witnessing is not random. It is one of nature's oldest survival strategies, playing out in real time. And by the end of this, you will never look at your yard the same way again. The real warning comes before you notice anything. Animals do not wait to see the danger. They sense it through systems we barely understand. Tiny shifts in air pressure, changes in sound frequency. A hawk circling 500 feet above creates a shadow pattern across the canopy. The birds at your feet are detected in their peripheral vision before the hawk is even close. Rabbits feel vibrations through the ground from a predator's footsteps hundreds of yards away. Deer hear frequencies that exist beyond human hearing. They are already reacting to what you cannot yet perceive. This is not fear. This is precision. Every animal in your yard is part of an invisible network, sharing information without making a sound. The silence itself becomes the message. Scientists call it collective vigilance. But that does not capture what it feels like to witness. It is more like watching a secret being passed through the air, faster than words, more certain than sight. But here is what most people miss. Not all silences are the same. The freeze you see depends on what is coming. And the animals know the difference before they move. When birds go completely still, feathers pressed tight, eyes scanning upward, they sense an aerial predator. A hawk, an owl, something above them that requires absolute invisibility until it passes. When deer stop feeding but do not run, when they stand with necks extended and noses testing the wind, they are tracking a ground threat. A coyote, a fox, something moving through the underbrush. And when every creature scatters at once, when birds explode from branches and rabbits vanish into burrows in the same heartbeat, that means the threat is immediate, confirmed, already too close to hide. Watch what happens after the silence breaks. The first animal to resume normal behavior signals that the danger has passed. Usually, it is a jay, bold, watchful, testing the air before the others trust it again. What you are watching is not just individual survival. It is cross-species communication. Animals that would normally compete or ignore each other suddenly share the same language when danger arrives, and they trust it completely. A gray squirrel flicks its tail in a specific pattern. That movement alerts birds 3 trees away. They recognize the signal, even though squirrels and songbirds do not speak the same calls. Jays and crows use distinct alarm calls for different predators. One call for hawks, another for cats. And somehow, robins and sparrows understand the difference. They react with precision to warnings from another species entirely. Even more remarkable, mammals release alarm pheromones through scent glands when frightened. Deer, rabbits, and groundhogs detect these chemical messages on the wind. Invisible signals passing between creatures who may never see each other. This network operates constantly. Every moment of every day, your backyard is buzzing with information you cannot hear or see. Animals reading each other's fear, trust, and awareness in real time. A secret conversation happening just outside your window. But here is the part that changes everything. Sometimes the silence is not responding to a predator at all. Sometimes it is responding to you, and you may not even realize you caused it. Animals learn human patterns faster than we give them credit for. They recognize your footsteps, the sound of your back door, the time of day you usually appear. They adjust their behavior around your schedule. When you step outside, the birds do not panic. They pause. Wait, assess whether you are a threat today. If you move slowly and predictably, they resume feeding. If you approach the feeder, they retreat until you leave. Deer recognize the silhouette of a person in a window versus a person walking toward them. Squirrels learn which humans chase them and which ignore them. They are watching you as closely as you watch them, maybe closer. This means your presence creates ripples through the network. When you are outside, information flows differently. Animals adapt, shift timing, choose different routes. Your backyard ecosystem reorganizes itself around you every single day without you knowing it happened. So what does this teach us? These animals are not smarter than humans, but they are present in ways we have forgotten how to be. They notice what changes before the change becomes dangerous. Humans wait until problems are obvious, until the threat is visible and undeniable. Animals respond to the earliest signals, the shift in wind, the missing sound, the feeling that something is different, even when nothing looks wrong. That ability comes from constant attention, from living fully in the moment without distraction. A rabbit cannot check its phone. A deer cannot ignore the forest because it is bored. Their survival depends on noticing now. Every second. Without hesitation. We call it instinct. But instinct is just pattern recognition refined over time. These animals have learned what silence means, what certain sounds indicate, what behaviors in other species signal. They read the world fluently because they never stop practicing. The silence in your yard is not empty. It is information. And if you slow down enough to notice it, you start to see patterns everywhere. In relationships, in work, in the small moments that predict larger outcomes. You learn to listen to what is not being said. You do not need special equipment to start seeing this. You just need to look at your yard the way the animals already see it, as a living network. A system of signals and responses happening continuously. Start simple. Tomorrow morning, watch your backyard for 5 minutes without distraction. No phone, no multitasking. Just observe which animals appear first. Which ones wait until others arrive. Who watches while others feed. Notice the order, the timing, the patterns. Learn to recognize 3 bird calls. You do not need to know every species. Just 3. 1 alarm call, 1 territorial call, 1 contact call. When you can distinguish those sounds, you start to hear the conversation instead of just noise. Pay attention to interruptions. When activity suddenly stops, do not dismiss it. Ask what changed. Was it a sound, a shadow, your own movement? Track how long the silence lasts. Notice who resumes normal behavior first. You are learning to read the network. Within a week, you will start to see patterns you never noticed before. The hawk that circles every afternoon at 3. The rabbit that only appears when the dog is inside. The jay that announces your arrival before you reach the window. Your yard will become less random and more readable. So when your yard goes silent, remember what you now know. That stillness is not the absence of life. It is life paying attention. Every animal responding to information you cannot yet detect. Reading the world in ways you are just beginning to understand. You live surrounded by intelligence, not human intelligence, but something just as sophisticated. A network of awareness operating constantly, sharing danger, safety, and survival strategies across species. And it has been there all along, right outside your window, waiting for you to notice. The animals in your yard already know you. They recognize your patterns. Adjust to your presence. Communicate about you when you are not looking. You are part of their ecosystem whether you realize it or not. The question is, are you paying attention to theirs? Tonight, go outside. Stand still for 10 minutes. Do not look for anything specific. Just watch. See how long it takes for normal activity to resume after you arrive. Notice who appears first. Who stays hidden? What changes when you are there? Start learning the language your yard already speaks. If this changed how you see your backyard, subscribe. There are patterns everywhere once you learn to look. Next time, we will explore what happens when animals return to places humans abandoned. Until then, watch your yard, Listen to the silence. You will never see it the same way again.